There's a couple more things I'd like to add graphically to this foundation detail. We have a layer of damp proofing here, and we're going to have a vapor retarder below the concrete slab. So I'm going to add this same line type below the slab. So I will go ahead and click on annotate detail line. I'm going to use the same hidden medium one. Now I'm going to make this line on top of the slab and then move it down. So once I've made that line, I'm going to move it. Let's just double check how I made a 4-inch slab there. I'll click on it and I'm going to move it 4.5. So it sits a little bit below the slab, and then I can point to it. Okay, so there's my line type there. And in addition, inside the slab, there's going to be some welded wire reinforcing, and I need a new line type for that. So I'm going to go to Manage, again, Additional Settings, Line Styles, and I'll create another line type. I need it to be distinct from the one that I just drew. So let's see here. Let's do New. Let's call this dash, and we'll just include the color in there. That's really important to do. Black. I want to see what it looks like with the thin line type, but now what I'll do is look for, let's try the dash 1.8, apply it, and okay. Now this might take a little bit of experimentation. Now I'm going to go to annotate detail line, and I will create a line here. Oops, I want to change my line type to the new one and click on it. And I'm going to move it down 2 inches. So it's sort of sitting in the middle of the slide. Okay, now I think it's not dark enough. So what I'm going to do is go back to Manage, Additional Settings, Line Styles, scroll down there to the new one, and I'll just increase it to 2. Apply, okay. All right, so it reads a little better, and it's slightly different in terms of the spacing. So now the last thing I want to mention about the graphics is for this furred wall, I just placed a single top plate. And, you know, I suppose this is kind of up to the carpenter's discretion. Sometimes the detailing of the framing is that way. You may show one thing and it's maybe done slightly differently. Now keep in mind that this is furring. In other words, the foundation wall is already poured. The joists above are already set and anchored to the top of the wall. And this probably would be done later. And how they frame it maybe is different than they would frame a wall that's sitting on top of a platform. So this may be a double top plate, and I'll draw it just to be consistent with what I've shown elsewhere. But it's possible that it would just be built, framed out kind of in place with a single top plate. Okay. So that's it, and we're ready to add some notes. So instead of walking you through each and every note here, I've added them already, and I'll talk about them a little bit. All I would say is, try to get these notes in as I've got them. Do your best to kind of make sure that lines are not crossing. So you're kind of working from top to bottom or from outside to inside or the closest surface. Try to work on these leaders to make sure that they're not covering sort of graphic content. If you can avoid having things overlap like that, for example, it just makes everything a little bit clearer. So I'm going to slide this over. just a few comments about it. Keep in mind that anytime you have wood that's touching concrete, you want to go with a pressure, not shredded, but treated sill plate. We have here an insect screen at the bottom of this air cavity, obviously to keep insects from crawling up into that space. You want it to be a meshy material so that water can drain out. On the interior side, you can start with the outermost material and again, work your way into the wall. A little special note about this one here. We have an air space between the stud wall and the foundation. One of the reasons for that is to avoid the wood touching the foundation wall, again, because of the moisture. But if we move down to the bottom here, this one has to touch the concrete slab. So that piece of 2x4 needs to be pressure treated as well. So we've got our concrete slab, we've got the welded wire reinforcing, our vapor retarder, and the crushed gravel. So you may need to kind of flip the leaders from one side to the other. Just keep in mind, these are the tools that you would use to do that. Over here on the left, we're going to talk about the exterior side of the foundation wall, the damp proofing, the reinforcing. Let's make sure this one here should probably be, these should be flipped in their order. Damp proofing is the outermost material. So, and I'm trying to keep the notes relatively close together, but to give a little bit of space between them. So we've got our reinforcing bars, we have the key, we have our perforated drain pipe down there at the bottom. So that is all that you would need to detail. And this one here is the exception with the leader in that we don't go to a horizontal and then break into a diagonal because we're trying to, as close as possible, get this to align with the placement of the grade as it's been drawn. Okay, some of this text is sitting on top of the earth hatch. And just to make sure that things are legible, I'm going to make a setting change to that fill pattern. Or actually, we'll do it through the object styles. So I'm going to click on object styles, and I'm going to scroll down to the topography. Here it is right here. I want to see what kind of line types we have. Okay, I'm going to cancel that. And now I'm going to go to the materials and take a look at what I have for the earth. This is the one I want to change. Okay, if you scroll down, we have under the graphics tab, we have a color assigned. This is the RGB color model. It's the red, green, blue channel, which we commonly use in digital contacts. And it has these as 000, which is going to give you black. I want to move this to more of a gray tone. So I'll go with this one right here. So it's going to lighten it just a little bit so that the text reads a little bit better surrounding that. And I'll apply it and okay. All right, so when we make our PDFs, we should see that the tone of the earth pattern is going to be a little bit lighter.